Hello, my name is Sarah Levesque, and I am Director of Regenerative Food Systems Investment, an initiative working to facilitate education about investment in regenerative agriculture and food, as well as build relationships and networks that will further the development of investment in this opportunity. Today, I am pleased to be speaking with one of our partners for this year's Regenerative Food Systems Investment Forum, which is scheduled for September 14th through 17th. Caesare Assad is CEO of Food System 6, a nonprofit that is building a more equitable and sustainable food and agriculture system by supporting entrepreneurs focused on health, sustainability, and justice. She and her team are intimately connected with the mission of food systems transformation, as well as with the communities of entrepreneurs and investors working to make that happen. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, Caesare.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me join you.
Yes, absolutely. We're excited. And I would love to start today just with having our audience get to know you just a little bit. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about FS6 and what brought you to your role as CEO there.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sarah. So, I'll start with just a little about FS6. As you mentioned, we're working to build a more intentional, equitable, reliable, and resilient food system for everyone. And we do that by supporting entrepreneurs who are leaders in the work, who are committed to solving for inequities, some of the extraction and disinvestment that we've seen, who are creating solutions that are, just and fair, building vibrant farms, sustainable ecosystems, producing environments for healthier people. Our work is about sort of long-term business support, building trusted relationships, breaking down needs within various parts of the food system so that we can help educate investors, other stakeholders, all on behalf of these leaders. And for FS6, impact is really our North Star. And a little about my background, I grew up in rural Oklahoma. I've always been an artist, and so was deeply influenced by witnessing the deterioration of our culture and sort of the decimation of our small business economy as a result of farmland consolidation and corporatization. So I personally worked for years in low-wage jobs. I was a laborer and a cook. I saw how poor people, immigrants, indigenous communities endured grueling jobs in oil fields, feedlots, farms, myself in sweltering kitchens, and all of this just to sort of feed their families. And cooking allowed me a creative outlet, as well as the ability to open my perspectives through traveling, and including the decades since leaving kitchens, to build a more sustainable path for myself. I've lived and worked in small towns, large cities. I've run small businesses. I've helped merge nonprofits, and I've built entirely new business units for global corporations. And in just my short lifetime, I've witnessed firsthand how vulnerable and inequitable the US food system is, the devastating toll that a more industrialized approach has taken, the lack of access to healthy food, the extreme pollution, the way that really an extractive economy has had a consequential impact on the majority of people in this country and globally. So in this journey, I've personally sought healing for myself. I've struggled a lot to reconcile what I've learned and experienced in the context of the business world. And I've endeavored to create, a life of purpose that seeks to heal the earth, heal connections between us, and that's balanced between activism, pragmatic action. And in my role at FS6, I'm able to ask people to engage with their own purpose, positioning this within the context of business. And this is a uniquely creative and challenging opportunity. This is why I was drawn to working with FS6. The community of people who are doing this work understand that collective purpose, shared responsibility, and are willing to work through the hard for as long as it takes, really with whatever tools we can avail to build something better.
Wow, that's quite a journey. I did not realize, that you had such a foundation in kitchen and cooking, and I think that's an amazing path. And you seem to have outlined very well kind of how you meet the goals that you've set for yourself. So thank you. That's awesome. Kind of going off of that, we've seen, if anyone knows you on social media or personally, they know that you're very active and vocal about food systems change. What opportunities do you see in the food system coming out of the events that are shaping 2020 as a whole?
Well, thank you for that question. And yes, I definitely am vocal. You know, there's much to be said, and I'm thankful that I have a voice, because so many people do not. And so I definitely take great responsibility to use my voice and to speak on behalf of those who aren't given this position. And so, you know, one thing I think in general is that people in communities really are coming together to respond to the events that we're really seeing with care and commitment. You know, folks are working to bolster fragmented solutions within food and agriculture, addressing infrastructure gaps, identifying where technologies can be additive, where gaps with tech literacy can be enabling, building cooperation among small businesses, exploring ways to structure enterprises that generate wealth for those who produce it. We're seeing the opportunity for everyone to get involved in their own local community food system. I think this is a really unique time where we can focus our individual and organizational efforts locally, and that translates to domestically, which has other ripple effects globally. But we can build meaningful collaborations where we share, connect, learn with and from a larger community of aligned investors, because frankly, we all have a huge responsibility to make decisions today that will position us for a future together. I think this cohort that we will hear from on the 14th represents the type of leaders, local entrepreneurs, direct investment opportunities that can make direct impact in our communities and in our food system as a whole. Everyone who's been working in food and ag knows that these problems aren't new. You know, COVID, among other events, are showing us that we must change our way of operating as a whole. We need to operate within the bounds of our ecological living systems. We need to take care of the earth. This is our life source. And we need to invest in regional infrastructure to support and enable localized food systems. And then, you know, the other piece of, I think, opportunities and what I would like to offer and invite, that in order to truly do this work, to engage with real opportunities for change in the food system, especially given the current realities, we all need to get clear on who we are, why we do what we do, where we come from, our likes and dislikes, our talents, the love we have for ourselves and our families, our love for the earth. We need to answer these simple questions first, because this is really our compass. This is our connection to spirit, our reason. And if we can operate from a place of knowing who we are, we can begin to make decisions, investments, and otherwise that means something. And the opportunity being presented by these crises today are about each of us getting real and getting in truth with ourselves. We have to connect with who we are, why we exist, and we have to start making more intelligent choices together about how we invest in our limited resources.
Well, that was informative, and I had no idea it would be so inspirational and inspiring, so thank you. That's great. And I think a lot of the things you just mentioned in terms of what opportunities are available are things like you mentioned, that your cohort is your cohort companies, which we will get to in just a minute, are working on, but also entrepreneurs in general. So I wonder, what do you see as the greatest barriers for entrepreneurs in this space in terms of getting the funding they need to keep their work moving forward?
Well, so I think we could probably collaborate and write a few books about this together, but I'd say the short of it is, you know, we have incredible leaders. You'll hear from some of them. You know, we're fortunate to support a small portion of the many who've been committed to solving these complex problems in their communities. And, you know, we really need to get creative in the ways in which we as an investment community can solve problems for them. And so I think that there needs to be a collective ecosystem of investors and helpers, making it easier to bridge connections and build collaborative relationships to help entrepreneurs. There needs to be an equalization in the power dynamics that typically play out, I think, with the investor-entrepreneur relationship. A recognition that it's about finding an alignment of resources and values that will help us, you know, progress. And, you know, I think we really need to define progress by much more than the speed of financial return. Not all innovation that matters is venture backable. Big food and big ag recognize the limits of their models today. Consumers want something different. A generation of entrepreneurs are challenging the status quo. And we're seeing, I think, the impact investing space begin to mature a bit. Metrics are being developed. You know, there's attempts to capture value on term sheets. And all of this, there's room for greenwashing and more liberal interpretation of impact. So, you know, I think that the barriers are always that as an investment community, we need to come together, create more access, and create more of a conversation with entrepreneurs so that we can remove some of really what have just been the pathways that have not allowed us to have effective communication.
Good. So a conversation is the first step, are we saying, in this process? Let's make sure
it's really kind of, you know, when you break it down, it's really all it comes down to, right? We just need to be willing to have more conversations, be helpful where we can be, and not be focused on, you know, what's that going to do for me? Especially in the food system and at this stage, you know, this work around regenerative agriculture, it's still, though it is centuries old from an indigenous perspective, where we are today, it's still quite early. So we need to help each other learn. We need to learn with our entrepreneurs. And I think recognizing that together we can create a fruitful ecosystem of innovations that we can collectively support will actually create more opportunity for everyone to make better investments over time.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I certainly wasn't simplifying the idea of the conversation, because I think the key there is really bringing more people into the conversation and bridging those gaps of where we're not having them. So absolutely. And so related to this in the entrepreneur conversation, you spend a lot of time with entrepreneurs and in this space. If there was one thing that you could provide every food systems entrepreneur to help them succeed, what would it be? And maybe I'm oversimplifying by saying there's one thing, maybe it needs to be custom, but just curious your thoughts.
No, I think that's actually a really simple one. You know, as an entrepreneur myself, I would say having someone to talk to during the dark days, you know, and maybe you can relate to this, Sarah. You know, you're very much in an entrepreneurial role. And I think many of us, you know, even if we're working at a larger organization, feel that way, especially today. We're all innovating right now. And so, you know, this means just like having long-term support that isn't contingent upon the success or failure of the enterprise itself, but that's focused on the person, the purpose they're committed to making with their life's work. I personally rely a ton on my board of directors, on the FS6 co-founders. I have a coach, Pam Shalou, she's incredible. I have, you know, my team. And, you know, these are the people who keep me oriented and assured and, you know, help pull us from the fear and loathing that is just an inevitable part of doing the very hard work of something entirely new constantly. So, you know, building a company is exhausting, let alone one in regenerative food system focused on, you know, addressing all the inequities and all the issues, and then also, you know, doing that in today's environment. So people just need people we can trust. And if you can offer that to an entrepreneur, I say this to investors, to folks who have experience, to other entrepreneurs, all different types of people have lots of perspective, and just offering a vessel, listening, sharing your perspective is such a tremendous help, and it's typically mutually beneficial. So
yeah, I can see that. And I think that's awesome. I don't know if you were quite there or saying it, but I'm going to put it out there for our audience who'll be listening to this, which is that's a call to action from Caesaré right here is, you know, when you come across, when you meet the entrepreneurs, when you're out meeting people, just make sure that, especially those meeting entrepreneurs, that you're having those conversations. And if you have something to offer and can listen and support, then have at it, please. Okay, so I'm going to shift back to what we've been teasing about, which is your cohort companies and also what we're doing at the Regenerative Food Systems Investment Forum on September 14th through 17th. So we are super excited to have FS6 as a partner, innovation partner this year at the event. And I was hoping you could give us a little teaser about what you and FS6 and your whole cohort companies will be addressing at the event.
Well, Sarah, we are super excited to be partnering with you all. You know, we really admire your work, of course, and so it's a great opportunity to be able to present in front of such a broad group of folks. And so one of the things we'll be doing is providing a pretty broad perspective. So, you know, Cohort 5, we've been working together since January. We selected this cohort, you know, last year. Each of our processes to select a cohort are quite extensive. We go through a pretty robust round of diligence with just even selecting who we're going to work with. And first and foremost, they have to meet a very specific set of indicators around impact, which we talked a little about at the beginning. So, you know, we'll position and talk a little bit about our perspective and sort of how we think about impact, and this will be an opportunity to really put that together with the cohort. So we have Matriarch Foods. They're focused on, you know, upcycling and providing more nutritious food into the industrial food service, along with other sort of circular aspects to their business. Farm Generations Co-op is a farmer-owned cooperative software solution. So just saying the words is interesting. Firebrand Bakery is a really incredible, you know, bakery in Oakland, California, who is really proving that supporting people who have been marginalized and providing with access to dignified wages and good jobs can build an incredible company. So you're going to hear from Matt there. Central Grazing Co., they're based out of Kansas. Jacqueline is the CEO, and, you know, she's working on a number of initiatives. You'll hear about a few of them, but just the nature of having a regenerative, you know, ranching company in the Midwest as a woman, in and of itself creates a compelling use case, I think, for investors to learn from. Revel Meats is operating in Oregon and has seen both their model help someone that has been operating a slaughterhouse for generations be able to retire successfully, and has also been able to expand and create a truly viable, localized, humane scale process facility that's serving and continuing to serve an increasing number of consumers out of the Portland market. And then Keller Crafted Meats is here in California, and Mark works with a number of different ranchers and has built a brand that is able to really deliver value consistently to ranchers who are committed to ecological practices. So these 6 entrepreneurs are working around the US to rebuild a more equitable food system. They're addressing multiple opportunities, representing a myriad of ways to get informed and engaged. And really, this is a conversation about the ways we can all engage and build something better together. The opportunity is going to be, I think, presented in a way where you'll be able to learn more about why these entrepreneurs do what they do. Storytelling is a big part of our work. And then you'll also hear a presentation to summarize really their company. The invitation from this is for anyone to be able to reach out and connect with these entrepreneurs. And then, you know, excitingly for us throughout the program for the rest of the week, we're going to hear from these entrepreneurs. They're experts and leaders in their fields, and they're really going to dig into their work. Many of them have been working for decades. They are farmers, they are ranchers, they're technologists. And so it's a pretty compelling and educational presentation. And I think there will be a lot to dig into where folks can kind of gauge your interest in what you want to hear the most from throughout the rest of the program.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're super excited to have your team and then also these exciting cohort companies involved in this year's program. There's absolutely a lot for them to share, and will encourage, and we will throughout the program encourage folks to follow up with them afterwards as well. So Caesaré, I just want to say thank you so much. As always, your work in this space is so appreciated and again, very inspiring. So thank you for joining us today.
Sarah, I can't wait until I can actually cook a meal for you and we can sit down and celebrate, celebrate things properly.
That I will look forward to for sure. And just a reminder for everyone out there that Food System 6 is bringing a complimentary kickoff program. So this is the main program that Caesaré was just speaking to, where you can meet all of their cohort companies. It is called Innovation for Food Systems Impact. It will be on September 14th. If you would like to join us for that or for the entire 4-day program, please visit www.rfsi-forum.com for more information, and we hope to see you there. Thank you again, Caesaré, and we'll be seeing you virtually very soon at the event.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you so much to your team for the opportunity to talk about our work and our amazing entrepreneurs.
Yes, we're excited to. Thank you. Take care, everyone.